Man, there is nothing better than a homemade biscuit, fresh out of the oven with a little bit of fresh jam.
Yum. And here to share his favorite biscuit recipe, cooking up a storm, is our meteorologist, Jacob Dickey. All right, Jacob, I'm smelling up these biscuits. I've been all hour.
Yeah, these biscuits are delicious, and they come from a recipe from the Mississippi State Fair itself. I used to work in Mississippi, my first television job, and every summer during the state fair, there'd be a group of old ladies, and they would sit during the entire state fair and make biscuits by hand. And they hand them out for free. They'd go through about 120,000 biscuits in a state fair season on average.
Okay.
So this is that recipe from when I was watching and eyeballing them. Of course, they're sitting there with these big, huge mixing bowls, just my hand making.
Did they share the recipe?
Kind of.
Or you just had to tweak it?
A little bit, yeah. And we kind of tweak it a little bit, too, because most baking has to be precise. This really doesn't have to be quite that precise, and you'll know why here when we give you the instructions.
Okay.
So,
Sounds like my type of baking recipe.
Yeah. So we've got a pan right there that's already done. We're going to snack on those later, but we want to start making these biscuits now. First thing you want is 2 cups of self-rising flour. If you don't have self-rising flour, you can use regular flour, regular all-purpose flour, bread flour. For every 3 cups of bread flour you have, you want to use about 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That makes it. Same thing there. And that'll be just like self-rising flour, good substitute replacement for that. So I've got that in my sifter, and I also added a little sugar. That's something that they don't do down there. But I added it because I think the sugar goes really good with the buttermilk that we're going to use here in a minute. What we'll do is we'll sift this, and you'll see it makes quite the mess here.
A full cloud.
Blowing it around a little bit. But as we sift that there, that's going to add a lot of air into the flour and make it very light. And then I've got some of that sugar that's also sifted in there. So 2 cups. We're making a mess, aren't we?
Well, I'm just trying to keep the gluten away from
I know. This is like a celiac nightmare. A cloud of gluten
There's
floating
our
in the air.
sifted flour. The next thing you're going to use is vegetable shortening here.
I love how that turned out, though.
Yeah, it's very light looking. A couple of those drops in there, the sugar that came in on top. And just a spoonful of sugar, like a couple teaspoons, is all you need to really bring out that flavor.
Okay.
Next thing we're going to do, and here's the inexact science. So with 2 cups of flour, every 2 cups gets about an egg-size amount of Crisco. So, I mean, it's not quite an egg, but that's close enough, don't you think?
A lumpy egg.
We'll just drop it on in there, and we'll make it, make it work.
That's a good eyeball.
Yeah, we're going to do that here. And then, this is what they do. They literally sit there in the sun, and they use their hands, and they just make biscuits. And then they have fun, and they talk, and they...
What a happy life.
Oh, yeah. And they do it for, all 10 days.
Share stories.
Oh, and did they have some stories to share, that's for sure.
Oh, I believe it.
So what we're
That's
doing,
it?
Well, we've got the buttermilk that we're going to add, too. But what we're doing now is we're breaking apart the shortening in there into the flour. And the idea is we want it to be a nice consistency where you don't notice there's any clumps of shortening in there. It's all distributed evenly throughout. And that's what we're going for here. So I'll keep working in this a little bit. While I'm doing that, I'll talk a little bit about the buttermilk. Obviously, the more fat content you get in buttermilk, the better. It's hard to find the good buttermilk around here. You go to the grocery store, usually it's the low fat, which it's still good. But I want the full fat. That's the good stuff, right? Fat is flavor. That's my take on things. They also have this buttermilk that's, and I've seen it once or twice. I don't know if you've seen it before. It's like a special, and now the name's escaping me, but it's like a much richer buttermilk. So if you got good buttermilk, great. What happens if you don't have buttermilk? Regular milk, you use about a cup of regular milk. Every cup gets a tablespoon of vinegar. That's how my mom made it growing up. You can use that as a buttermilk substitute.
Just white distilled vinegar.
White milk.
Interesting.
Whole milk will be better than 2%. 2% will be better than skim because, again, fat is flavor, and we want that flavor in there.
Okay.
So I've got this close, and what we'll do then is in the middle here, I'm going to create a little well for that. This is the exact science. You pour in the buttermilk, and then you just start mixing it around with your hand. And the idea is you want it to get it to a nice dough consistency. And my hands are going to get real messy here, so that's all right. That's part of the fun. This is something the kids are going to love. And what do? They just pour buttermilk and mix it up and have some fun. And pour a little bit more to make it to where it's a nice dryish. You want too sticky, but you don't want it powdery either.
We want nice fluffy biscuits.
That's right. And by using my hand here, I'm avoiding beating the flour that we sifted and whatnot, just very lightly mixing around. While this is happening, the oven is set to 425, and you'll put these in a pan and bake them for about it's like about 15 minutes. I think this one is a little bit longer. It's going to depend on the oven. Check them after 10 minutes. You want it to be the nice brown like we've got on the pan there. And what you do is you just lay them out on a flour surface. And I'm not going to have time here because
That's how it should look?
Yeah. But when you get it all done here, you'll lay it out on a floured surface, and you can use biscuit cutters. If you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can use the top of a mason jar. You can use a drinking cup. Shape the biscuits and stack them close, and stick them in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until the tops are golden brown.
Wow.
You, it's all your tips.
Yeah, my type of recipe here.
The male version of Betty Crocker.
Yeah, he is. Okay, well, we'll have the reveal coming up. Plus, we're talking jam. I see lots of different varieties here.
I'm excited.
Okay,
I'm excited.
Jacob's recipe will be linked up on Facebook.